You don't owe anyone the version of you that survived, the one who smiled through pain just to make others comfortable, the one who said, I'm fine when you were barely holding on, the one who kept showing up for people who didn't show up for you. That version of you, she was strong, she was brave, she got you through. But now it's time to become someone new, someone who doesn't just survive, but lives. Let's get honest for a second. So many of us are walking around with unhealed versions of ourselves, still running the show. We call it being strong. We call it moving on. But underneath it all, we're just scared to feel safe again, because feeling safe means letting go of hypervigilance, letting go of control, letting go of old narratives that protected us when we didn't know any better. But safety doesn't have to mean silence. Healing doesn't mean you stop feeling. It just means you stop letting pain make the decisions. And that's what this chapter is about. Not pretending you're healed, not proving you're over it, but choosing to no longer build your life around wounds. Choosing to love yourself without condition. Choosing to protect your peace, even if no one claps for it. Choosing to believe that the version of you you're becoming deserves to be seen. Let's make something clear. You are not responsible for how others perceive your healing. You are not selfish for choosing solitude over shallow connections. You are not cold for cutting ties with people who only called when they needed something. That's not being cruel. That's being clear. Clear about your worth, clear about your capacity, clear about what you will and will not allow into your sacred space. And your heart is sacred. It's been through enough. It's held on through storms. It's beat for you on days you forgot to show up for yourself. So maybe now it's time to protect that heart, to wrap it in truth, to surround it with people who don't require you to perform your pain to be loved. Because real love doesn't ask for your wounds to be proof of your strength. It just holds space for all of you. Messy, magical, healing. There's a quiet kind of power that comes when you stop trying to explain your boundaries. When you stop offering access to people who've only ever shown you their inconsistency. When you stop chasing apologies that will never come. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. You don't need someone else to validate your healing journey for it to be valid. You don't need their understanding to choose peace. You don't need closure to create your own beginning. You've already done the hard part. You stayed when it hurt. You gave when it cost you sleep, sanity, self-esteem. You held space for people who didn't know how to hold you back. But now it's your turn to stop giving your best to people who only brought out your worst. To stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you, to stop dimming your light so others don't feel uncomfortable. Your softness is not weakness. Your truth is not too much. Your clarity is not cruelty, it's self-respect. And finally, you're giving yourself the respect you've always deserved. Sometimes healing looks like laughter returning to your life in small moments. Sometimes it's the calm of a Sunday morning where you no longer feel like you're chasing time. Sometimes it's silence, not the anxious kind, but the sacred kind. The kind that says, I'm at peace here, not because life is perfect, but because you've stopped fighting yourself. This next chapter isn't about proving anything. It's about being present, being enough, being honest with yourself about what you truly need, and not feeling guilty for needing it. You're allowed to outgrow relationships that no longer feel aligned. You're allowed to walk away from roles you've outgrown. You're allowed to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Here's what they don't tell you about healing. It's lonely sometimes, because the higher you rise, the more you realize who wasn't willing to grow with you. But that's okay. Not everyone is meant to stay. Not everyone will understand your softness. Not everyone will appreciate your standards. But the people who are meant for you, they won't make you question your worth. They won't make you earn their love. They won't shrink you to make space for themselves. And those are the ones worth waiting for. The truth is, your healing is not a burden. It's a gift. A gift that taught you how to hold space for yourself. A gift that taught you how to hear your own voice again. A gift that reminded you You were never too much. You were never not enough. You were just surrounded by people who didn't know how to love at your level, and now you do. So here's to the version of you rising now, the one who no longer seeks chaos because peace finally feels safe, the one who doesn't explain her worth, she embodies it, the one who isn't bitter, just clear, the one who is soft and strong in that softness. You are not the things that broke you. You are the rebuild. You are the light that came after. You are the one who chose to stay, not for others, but for you. And every time you choose peace over proving, clarity over chaos, grace over guilt, you are rewriting the story. You are creating a new blueprint for love, for living, for leading your own life. And that blueprint, it doesn't require permission, just truth, just courage. Just you, exactly as you are. So let go of survival. Let go of the habits that protected you but no longer serve you. Let go of apologizing for taking up space in your own life. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken. You are not late. You are becoming beautifully, courageously, quietly. And that is more than enough. There comes a point in every healing journey when you realize something quietly heartbreaking. You've spent more energy blaming yourself than forgiving yourself. You've carried guilt, regret, shame like they were your penance for things that didn't go as planned. You've replayed every what if in your head like a broken record. You've asked yourself, what did I miss? What did I do wrong? And somewhere along the way, you stopped allowing yourself to just be human. But today, that changes. Today, we talk about letting go not just of other people, but of the war you've been fighting with yourself. You see, healing isn't just about walking away from pain. It's about walking toward freedom. And freedom doesn't come when everything's perfect. It comes when you release the weight you were never meant to carry. Let me ask you, how long have you been apologizing to yourself without even realizing it? How long have you kept your heart in lockdown because you swore you'd never make the same mistake again? How long have you denied yourself joy, softness, real connection because deep down you didn't feel like you deserved it? That's not healing. That's survival. And love, you're allowed to leave survival mode behind. You've punished yourself for being loyal to the wrong person, for staying too long, for ignoring the red flags, for not knowing better when you didn't know better. But you're not that person anymore. You're wiser now, softer, yes, but stronger too. You're learning to listen to your intuition instead of silencing it. You're learning that your value never lived in someone else's hands. And most importantly, you're learning that forgiveness isn't just something you give others. It's something you give yourself. You can't write the past. You can't go back and do it differently. But you can stop reliving it. You can stop letting old pain interrupt new joy. You can stop letting people who hurt you still live rent-free in your head. You can stop holding your own mistakes over your heart like a sentence that will never end. You are not the sum of what went wrong. You are the story of how you chose to rise anyway. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means freeing. It means deciding that your peace matters more than the pain, that your future is worth more than the past, that you don't need to keep revisiting old wounds just to prove how much they hurt. They hurt. We know, you know. But now it's time to do the most loving thing you could ever do for yourself. Let go. Let go of the version of you that stayed quiet to keep the peace. Let go of the version that apologized for existing. Let go of the one who believed they had to earn love by abandoning themselves. That version of you did what they had to do to survive. But now you're safe. Now you're growing. Now you're stepping into a version of life where self-abandonment is no longer the price of connection. You don't have to prove you're worthy of love anymore. You just have to receive it, starting with your own. It's okay if you're still learning how to love yourself. It's okay if you don't always know how to show up for you. This isn't about perfection, it's about presence. About finally showing up in your own life like you matter. Because you do. You're not here to stay stuck in old chapters. You're here to write new ones. Ones filled with peace, with laughter, with love that doesn't leave bruises, with mornings that don't start with anxiety, with a heart that feels safe in your own hands. Letting go doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you care enough about yourself now. It means you've stopped begging for clarity from people who only offered confusion. It means you've stopped building futures around people who couldn't meet you halfway. It means you're choosing yourself not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. And that kind of clarity, it's the beginning of everything. You can love them and still let them go. You can miss them and still move on. You can remember the good times and still recognize that you deserve better now. That's not betrayal. That's evolution. Here's the truth. You're going to disappoint people when you stop abandoning yourself. You're going to confuse people when your peace no longer includes them. You're going to lose things, people, identities you thought you'd never survive without. But you will survive, and not just survive, you'll thrive, because what you're gaining is so much more than what you're leaving behind. You're gaining you. You'll stop asking for the bare minimum. You'll stop accepting inconsistency as normal. You'll stop settling for connections that make you doubt your own beauty. You'll begin to realize the love you were waiting for from others was always meant to start with you. And when you love yourself, you stop chasing things that were only meant to be lessons. You stop begging for crumbs from tables you were never meant to sit at. You stop shrinking your light just to make others feel comfortable. You start living fully. Freely, finally. So breathe. Not the shallow breath of someone bracing for the next heartbreak, but the deep breath of someone who knows their next chapter will be softer, safer, and realer than ever. You don't need to carry guilt where grace is needed. You don't need to hold shame where growth has already happened. You don't need to explain why you're choosing peace. You just need to choose it. Because you are not a project to fix. You are not broken pieces to be ashamed of. You are not too much or too sensitive or too complicated. You are a whole, evolving, deeply feeling human being worthy of love, even in your mess. Especially in your mess. Let today be your turning point. Let this be the moment you stop reaching backward for something you outgrew. Let this be the day you stop defining yourself by old mistakes and start celebrating how far you've come. Let this be the beginning of a softer way of living a life where you no longer wear pain like a badge of honor, but where you rise in your own light, where you stop apologizing for the way you feel, where you stop waiting for others to value you, where you stop asking for permission to heal. You don't need to earn peace. You don't need to earn worth. You don't need to keep proving anything to anyone. You just need to come home to yourself, to the quiet, powerful, still part of you that always knew you were made for more than survival. You were made for freedom. And now you're ready. Let's begin. Have you ever felt as though every step you take is overshadowed by a mountain of doubt? Like every morning you wake up and wonder if you're strong enough, if you're ready for the challenges that lie ahead. Today I want to remind you of something powerful. Every challenge you face is not a barrier, it's a stepping stone. Your journey, with all its twists and turns, is shaping you into the person you are meant to be. Imagine this for a moment. Think back to a time when you overcame something you once thought was impossible. The hard days, the setbacks, and even the tears were not wasted. They were lessons. Each moment of struggle was a teacher, gently guiding you to discover that deep, unshakable strength within. Too often we let the fear of failure and the shadows of our past dictate our future. We measure our progress against an illusion of perfection. But here's a truth that might change your perspective. True progress isn't about reaching a destination overnight. It's about the courage to continue when everything feels uncertain. Your journey is uniquely yours. It's not a race where you have to match someone else's pace. It's a path that unfolds with every decision you make, every risk you take, and every time you choose to rise, even when falling feels easier. Let's take a moment to talk about self-belief. Many of us struggle with the inner critic, the voice that whispers you're not good enough, or maybe you should just give up. But what if we chose to silence that voice? What if we replaced those doubts with affirmations of our strength, resilience, and potential? The truth is, the power to create change lies within you. It starts with one simple decision to embrace the present moment and recognize that you are already enough. That feeling of inadequacy is just a shadow that fades as you step into the light of your own authenticity. Consider your dreams. They are not distant fantasies. They are blueprints of your potential. Each day, every small action is a brick in the foundation of that dream. When you commit to growth, even the tiniest progress matters. A single step forward, however small, is a victory. It signifies that you are moving beyond the limitations imposed by your past and stepping into a future defined by possibility. Now think about resilience. Resilience isn't about never breaking. It's about learning how to rebuild every time you do. Life isn't meant to be perfect. It's meant to challenge you, to test your limits, and to reveal the extraordinary strength you possess. Every time you face a setback, remember that you have the power to rise again. The scars you bear are not marks of weakness, but symbols of your survival, your courage, and your determination. Relationships, too, are a mirror of our inner world. Often we look to others for validation, for the affirmation that we are on the right path. But the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. Treat yourself with kindness, compassion, and respect. When you learn to honor your own needs and celebrate unique your qualities, you set a standard that inspires everyone around you. It's also important to recognize that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to change direction. If you find yourself stuck in a pattern that no longer serves you, know that it's okay to reinvent your path. Starting over isn't a sign of failure, it's a courageous act of self-respect. It's choosing to honor your growth and recognizing that the best version of you is still unfolding. When you look in the mirror, see not just the person you are today, but the person you're becoming. Each decision you make, every risk you embrace, adds another layer to your story. Your journey is a mosaic of all your experiences, a beautiful tapestry woven with threads of struggle, perseverance, and hope. I want you to understand something crucial. The world doesn't owe you a perfect start, but it does offer endless opportunities for growth, redemption, and transformation. You have within you an infinite reservoir of strength, creativity, and potential. It might not always feel that way, but the truth is they're waiting for you to unlock it. So when you face another day, embrace the challenges. Stand tall in the face of uncertainty and know that every setback is not a detour, but a part of your magnificent journey. With each sunrise, give yourself permission to start fresh, to believe in your power, and to rewrite your story in the language of hope and determination. Remember, success isn't measured by the absence of obstacles, but by the willingness to keep moving forward despite them. It's about the moments when you choose to keep fighting, to believe in your worth, and to understand that your past does not define your future. Today, I challenge you to take that step. Reach out to someone who inspires you, share your story, or simply take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. Celebrate the small victories, for they are the building blocks of the grand tapestry of your life. As you navigate the ups and downs of life, hold on to the truth that you're stronger than any obstacle. You are capable of more than you can imagine. And most importantly, know that every step, no matter how small, is a victory. It's proof that you're moving forward, evolving, and embracing the endless possibilities that lie ahead. So here's to you, the dreamer, the fighter, the resilient soul who refuses to let fear dictate the narrative of their life. Embrace your journey with all its imperfections, for it is in those very imperfections that you find your true strength and beauty. Take a deep breath, feel the strength of your heartbeat, and step boldly into the life you deserve. Your journey is your own masterpiece in progress, and every day you have the power to create a life filled with purpose, passion, and undeniable strength. You are not defined by where you started, but by the courage you show in every step you take toward a brighter tomorrow. Stand tall, be proud, and always remember you hold the power to transform every moment into a testament of your strength. Here's something most people won't tell you: the next level of your life won't recognize the person you were just a year ago. And that's not a bad thing, because growth, real growth, requires change, not just in your environment, not just in your relationships, but in the identity you carry. Who you believe you are shapes everything. You can't keep stepping into new seasons while dragging along old versions of yourself. Versions that were scared to speak. Versions that apologize for existing. Versions that made themselves small just to feel loved. That person, they got you here. They kept you safe, but they can't take you where you're going. Because your next level doesn't ask for permission, it requires ownership. Ask yourself honestly, what identity are you still clinging to that no longer fits? Maybe it's the overgiver who keeps showing up for people who never reciprocate. Maybe it's the quiet one who stays silent to avoid rocking the boat. Maybe it's the strong one who never lets herself break down because she's afraid of being seen as weak. But here's the truth: being strong doesn't mean being silent. Being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. Being available doesn't mean abandoning yourself. You're allowed to evolve, and some people won't like it. We're all born with a blank slate, wide open, hopeful of possibility. Then life happens. We experience heartbreak, trauma, disappointment. We learn to protect ourselves. We build identities to survive, masks to make others comfortable, but eventually those masks get heavy and we confuse them with who we are. So we live from wounds, not truth, from fear, not faith. We start to think, I'm just not confident. I'm just not meant to be loved like that. This is just how life is for people like me, but those aren't facts. They're stories, and stories can be rewritten. You want change. You have to challenge the story you've been telling yourself. Instead of, I always mess things up, try, I'm learning to trust myself again. Instead of no one ever stays, say, I'm only accepting aligned love moving forward. Instead of I don't belong, affirm I create spaces where I am valued and seen. Because your thoughts shape your identity and your identity directs your life. Here's the catch: you can't just think differently. You have to act differently. You have to move as the version of you that already believes I am enough. I am worthy of love, rest, abundance. I don't have to chase to be chosen. This version of you, she makes different decisions. She doesn't over-explain her worth. She doesn't beg to be seen. She doesn't confuse being needed with being loved. She knows. And that knowing, that's what changes everything. Stepping into your next level feels uncomfortable because it costs you familiarity. You'll grieve old versions of yourself. You'll outgrow people who once felt like home. You'll feel lonely at times, but loneliness isn't always a void. Sometimes it's space. Space for new connections, space for deeper peace, space for a self that's no longer diluted for anyone's comfort. We have this idea that self-worth is a destination, something you arrive at one day and stay there forever. But self-worth is practiced every day in small, powerful decisions, like leaving the conversation that drains you, not returning to the thing that hurt you even when you're bored or lonely, asking for what you need instead of waiting for someone to guess it. These aren't easy choices, they're brave ones, and bravery done daily becomes identity. You have to become the version of you that your future needs now, the version who stops shrinking, who stops waiting for permission, who stops playing in rooms where she has to convince anyone of her value. Because the next level, it only responds to clarity. It only opens up to those willing to risk being seen fully. You can't meet your future while carrying the weight of your past. You've got to let go of what was, of who you had to be, of what no longer fits. Start small. How does the next level you carry herself in a room? How does she handle disrespect? How does she speak about her goals when no one's around? How does she love herself even on days where she feels unlovable? Let her guide you. Not the insecure voice of yesterday, not the fear-based version from 5 years ago. Let her, the one you're becoming, call the shots now. And yes, it's hard. You'll question yourself. You'll feel like an imposter. You'll think, who do I think I am? But that voice, that's just the echo of your old identity dying out. You don't have to listen. You just have to keep moving. The real you. She's not afraid of her own greatness anymore. You are not too much. You are not behind. You are not unworthy. You are simply becoming someone who no longer fits into the boxes you once called home. And there's power in that. Because the moment you realize you don't need fixing, just permission to expand, everything shifts. You are allowed to be whole, even if others liked you broken. Be clear, even if others preferred your confusion. Be healed, even if others bonded with your wounds. You don't owe anyone the previous version of you just because they're more comfortable with her. You're not here to shrink to be digestible. You're here to become undeniably you. That's what your next level is waiting for. So here's your invitation. Step into it. Not tomorrow. Not when things feel perfect. Not when you have it all figured out. Now, as you are, messy, healing, powerful. Start speaking like the woman who believes she belongs in every room she enters. Start walking like the person who trusts their own timing. Start choosing like someone who knows her future is sacred and she won't delay it for anyone. And the people who can't meet you there, let them go, not with bitterness, with love. Because when you honor your growth, you also honor the truth that not everyone is meant to go with you. That's okay. Not everyone has the capacity for the level of light you're stepping into. But you do. You've earned this. You don't have to become someone else. You just have to unlearn everything that taught you you weren't already enough. And that's what this season is for. Not perfection, but alignment, not performance. But peace, not waiting to be chosen, but choosing you every single day.